Willie Ong's response. May we see a show of hands, please. Are you
Itaas niyo po yung
satisfied
kamay niyo
with Dr.
kung
Willie Ong's
satisfied
response?
kayo sa naging sagot ni Dr. Willie Ong. Can we ask our audience?
This
Yes
is part of
or
their
no?
participation.
Medyo may delay, kaya may delay din yung kanilang pagtaas ng kamay. Nakikita natin may ilang nagtataas ng kamay, Rico.
Ayan. And of course, Ruth, no, we would also like to reiterate to our candidates, if there has been a response and if your name is mentioned during a statement by one of the candidates, you can signal us for a rebuttal of 1 minute. All right, let's move
Ngayon
on.
naman, we want to ask a question, specific question, to two of our senators regarding the recent Senate Blue Ribbon Committee report on the controversy involving Pharmally Pharmaceutical. The partial report seeks plunder, graft, and other criminal and administrative charges against Health Secretary Francisco Duque, former government officials, and executives of Pharmally Pharmaceutical Corporation. It also found President Duterte betrayed public trust, which is impeachable under the Constitution. Senator Kiko, you signed the report. Our question, if these individuals are found guilty as Vice President, how will you ensure that justice is served?
Well, bilang Vice President, siyempre, pagka sila ay sinampahan na ng kaso, kailangan respetuhin natin ang proseso ng ating criminal justice system. At makakaasa ang ating mga kababayan, hindi tayo makikialam. Dapat nga ang mga nagkasala ay managot at dapat mabilis ang paglilitis. Yan ang hirap sa ating sistema ng katarungan, mabagal. Kaya dapat din mamodernisa ang ating justice system, dagdagan ng pondo para mabilis ang paglilitis, mabilis mapaparusahan ang mga dapat nagkasala at mabilis din ang hustisya. Kaya bilang Vice President, dito sa kaso ng Pharmally, kinakailangan talagang busisiin ng husto at porsigihin. Ngayon pa lang nagtatago ang napakaraming mga testigo na dapat sana'y magpapaliwanag at pinoprotektahan pa at dinedepensahan. Ibig sabihin, kung wala silang kasalanan, bakit sila nagtatago? So we can assure the public, pag tayo ang binigyan ng pagkakataon, we will ensure that justice will be served. Hindi biro itong nangyari dito sa bilyong-bilyong halaga na binulsa habang namamatay ang ating mga kababayan. Dapat managot itong mga nagkasala at dapat talagang maparusahan.
Tingnan natin ngayon ang reaction ng ating virtual audience. Another show of hands. Are you satisfied with the response of Senator Kiko Pangilinan? Tingnan natin kung may
Meron
mga
tayong konting
magtataas ng
delay,
kamay.
Ruth. So hintayin natin ang show of hands ng ating virtual audience. Yes?
Ayan,
If they're
nakita natin
satisfied
nagtaas sila ng
indeed
kamay.
with the response of Senator Kiko Pangilinan. More than 50% are satisfied with his response. Maraming salamat po. And now, Senate President Tito Soto, you have denied that you are pressuring senators to sign the Blue Ribbon Committee report on Pharmally. Ang sabi po ninyo, Senate President, quote, I will resign and shoot myself in Luneta. What is your stand on the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee report?
To prove that I was not pressuring anyone. Because the news report was that, or was it fake news on social media, that I was pressuring members of the Senate to sign the committee report. The Senate President never does that. I have never done that. We leave it to the discretion of the members. And any member or any senator signing a committee report can say with reservations, or I dissent. Hindi ganun kadali po yun na magpapirma o pumirma. It's up to them. Then also, just to make it clear, baka akala nila yung draft report, yun na ang Senate committee report. Hindi pa. Linawin ko muna. Kung may mga dapat sampahan ng kaso, sampahan. That is my personal opinion. But the draft committee report will have to go through plenary. And in plenary, that is when we pass it, we debate on it, para malaman natin kung sino-sino mga kasama dapat do sa kaso at sino dapat ang makakasuhan. Because usually, the ombudsman nakikinig sa pinapadala ng Senado, katulad ng ginawa kong investigasyon sa PhilHealth na pinakasuhan ko lahat yung mga ngay gumawa ng kabalbalan dun sa pera ng PhilHealth. Nakasuhan lahat yun, but we passed it in plenary. Majority signed, but we passed it in plenary, and it was a Senate report. It was no longer a blue ribbon draft report like what is happening now.
Virtual audience, we would like to see a show of hands if you are satisfied with Senate President Tito Soto's response. May we see a show of hands, please?
Itaas po natin ang kamay if you're satisfied with the response of SP Soto. Ayan na, may
We are seeing some who are
itaas.
responding to Senator Tito Soto's response. All right. Maraming salamat po for your participation. Actually, if Representative Lito Atienza was here, we would have also asked him also about the House panel's own probe on the Farmally controversy.
This is a CNN Philippines special presentation, the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022. Candidates, the mission vision of the office of the president states you will serve to uplift the lives and protect the liberty of the Filipino people.
And our next question pertains to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, which is considered the backbone of the Philippine economy. But they're unevenly affected by this pandemic. We'd like to know how you'll uplift their lives amid this raging health crisis. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nuben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, and
Zap, di mo ba nakita? Ang dami nila.
GG na ba mata mo? Para sa EO. EO Executive Optical. State-of-the-art facilities and expert eye care for your growth.
Yan lang, nagpa-check up tayo sa EO.
EO, love your eyes.
Anong hanap mo sa gamot kung may sakit ng ulo at lagnat? Yung malakas o yung maingat? Han, sa malakas na gamot ako. Han, malakas ka talaga? Baka may side effects pag malakas. Paano kung di mo na kailangang mamili? Ganyan pag pinili mo ang Biogesic. Kasing galing ng malakas na gamot pero maingat magpagaling. Buti na lang may Biogesic. Ang galing ng alagang Biogesic. Ingat!
Alagang Unilab yan.
Magkakasubukan na naman tayo
Binabayo na po ng bagyong Ulysses ang malaking bahagi ng Luzon.
Marami pang lugar ang posibleng maapektuhan ng El Nino.
Naitala sa Dagupan City noong Sabado ang pinakamataas na heat index. Mo kaming subukan, matinding init man yan o malakas na bagyo. Hindi mo kayang Vulcasilfo. Vulcasil, para sa akin, ito ang tipong subok ng panahon.
Supremo! Samahan ng mga kulaban. El General, ito'y matibay. El Kapitan, ito'y makapit. El Supremo, ito'y matatag. Pasti Foxy, palaban!
You're watching a CNN Philippines special presentation, The Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022.
7 out of 9 candidates are here on stage with us, and we're asking them your questions to know where they stand on key issues that are important to all of us. At isa nga po dyan, yung binanggit natin kanina, micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs, which comprise 99.5% of all business establishments in the country. Ang tawag nga po natin sa kanila, backbone ng ating ekonomiya. Without them, millions of our kababayans will be jobless. Candidates, we want to know, what can you do in your capacity as Vice President to come to the rescue of small business owners who are struggling from the pandemic and from other disasters? Banggitin na rin natin yung Typhoon Odette. We want to hear first from Carlos Serapio.
Thank you. I have examined the Bayanihan 2 law passed by Congress, and they have practically factored every scenario that can happen. And they have actually budgeted a big amount of money in support of SME. Now, considering that the incoming administration will have to abide not just by the law, but will have to use the funds that have been budgeted under the General Appropriations Act. Ang magagawa lamang po namin ay sumunod po kami doon sa tinatadhana ng batas at ipatupad namin po ito ng mahusay. Since I'm running under a dual context, we're running under a transition platform, and that at the same time, we are going to be operating in the existing system. Ang aming approach po sa old system is ipatupad yung maganda na nilang nasimulan at gamitin yung pondo na kanilang nailagay po doon. Datapwat, meron din po kaming napansin doon sa Bayanihan Act. Ang research and development ay binigyan lamang ng 10 milyon, samantalang ang mga daanan ng bisikleta na mahalaga rin ay binigyan ng 1 bilyon mahigit. So tingin namin ay dito naman sa aming panukala sa transition, research and development ay dapat bigyan ng mas marami pong halaga.
Kayo naman po, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Ang Robredo Pangilinan Tandem, ang kanyang mungkahi ay kumuha ng 100 bilyong piso mula sa mga realignment lamang ng ating current budget at suportahan yung small and medium enterprises bilang ayuda. Pero merong mga, hindi to utang, ayuda ito, pero merong mga restrictions o merong mga kinakailangan gawin. Halimbawa, makakakuha ka ng ayuda kung hindi mo tatanggalin yung mga empleyado so that we can preserve these jobs, or 2, kung kukunin mo ulit yung mga tinanggal mong trabahador dahil sa COVID. So 100 billion yan. In the last Congress, this administration gave 15 billion total assistance sa SM, micro and small. Napakaliit dahil over 1 million ang ating mga small and medium enterprises. At sila ang pinakamalaking employer. Ika nga, 90% of our employees or employment comes from small, medium enterprises. So we really have, kinakailangan suportahan. So yan ang ating gagawin. At syempre, kinakailangan talagang busisiin ng gusto. The DTI is a very professional organization, very professional, mabilis silang kumilos. Pagka binigay mo sa DTI yung 100 billion para sa suporta sa small and medium enterprises, talagang alam nating mapupunta yan sa tamang tulong at tamang ayuda para tuloy-tuloy ang ating ekonomiya ay sumigla.
Walden Bello, if you are elected as Vice President, paano po ninyo tutulungan ang mga micro, small, and medium enterprises?
Well, mahalaga ho itong topic na ito kasi unang-una ho, we need to repeal yung Foreign Investment Act Amendment na nag-lower ho nung Filipino only to about 100,000 lang, no? From 200,000 to 100,000. Yun hong retail trade liberalization, no? Nakapapasa rin ho, no? It lowers from 125 million pesos to 25 million pesos yung pagpasok ng foreigners, no? So we have had all of these foreign-oriented laws that have been passed recently, and Senate President Soto was the one who pushed them through Congress, no? And Senator Pangilinan also signed, no? So paano yan? Sinasabi nyo for Filipino kayo, and then you're liberalizing all these laws, no? And kami ni Calyodi, we are going to have 250 billion emergency fund for MSEs. Pero hindi sapat yan. We need to bring back a country, that really reserves our small and medium industries na nakakain na ng mga foreigners, no? So, yung sabi nga ni Senator Soto, he tries to portray himself as independent of the Duterte administration. That's not true.
Thank you very much, Walden Bello. Would you like to rebut to what Walden Bello has just said, Senate President?
The retail trade liberalization law is to uplift the economy of the country. It is madaling mamintas sabihin nga no, ba't binaba yung
Mr. Bello, no interruption, please. Please proceed, Senate President.
We have lowered the threshold for those who would want to invest, foreign investments, because that is the way to open up the economy. Hindi pa pwedeng yung sitwasyon lang natin ngayon na mangyayari. Because we have, in our case, we have a stopgap measure. Like, for example, we have the budget reform advocacy of Senator Lacson and myself. Right now, there are, every year, for the last 10 years, the 328 billion of the budget is unused. And we can easily use that.
We will let you finish your statement, Senate President.
We can easily use that to help the MSMEs easily. For example, give 1 billion each for every province. There are only 81 provinces. 1 billion each. Imagine what it can do for the economy in Occidental Mindoro and all the other provinces, especially the poor provinces.
Thank you, Senate President. Senator Kiko.
We supported the measure precisely because we feel given yung situation sa ASEAN, tayo mapakababa nung investments natin mula sa abroad, napakahalaga nan. Ngunit binalanse naman natin. Kaya nga merong 100 billion na suporta sa ating maliliit na negosyante para talagang mabigyan sila ng alalay at ayuda habang nasa gitna tayo ng COVID response. We have ng COVID at ang pandemya. So kinakailangan natin balansehin. Hindi pwedeng bawal ang lahat ng foreign investment o kaya restricted to the degree na hindi na lalaki ang ating ekonomiya dahil nakakadagdag naman sa totoo lang ng trabaho. But at the same time, suportahan ang ating lokal. Kaya nga mayroong 100 billion which is 85 billion more than what this administration has given in terms of assistance to micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Again, paalala lang po namin sa ating mga kandidato, wag po nating interrupt pag merong sumasagot. And for the rebuttal, you just have 1 minute.
All right, napakinggan natin si Senate President at si Senator Kiko. Are you satisfied, Mr. Bello, with their responses?
No, I am not, because they're opening up SMEs, and small enterprises, to be eaten up by putting down the threshold by foreign entrepreneurs and businesses. And then they say that they're protecting SMEs and medium enterprises. It's say na, okay, bibigyan kami kayo ng pondo para makatulong. Pero hindi yun ang problema. The problem is, for instance, yung tariff laws natin, 1 to 4% and all of that, really has gone down. So let's not kid ourselves. You're sending this country and our SMEs to the hands of all these foreign enterprises that will eat them up.
Walden Bello, we move on now to our next issue, which is also related to MSMEs. Many of those are Filipino fisherfolk whose livelihood have been affected not just by the pandemic but also by many other factors. This question goes to Senator Kiko Pangilinan. You promised to redeploy the Coast Guard and Navy ships to protect our fishermen from possible harassment from foreign vessels, which are mainly Chinese vessels. We're talking about a country with the largest navy in the world. At pagdating sa gray ships, they're also known as warships at ibang usapan na yan. So in April last year, President Duterte said he would send gray ships if China starts digging for oil, quote, to state a claim. Are you prepared to take this maritime dispute to another level?
Well, I'm prepared to fight for our rights over the waters of our exclusive economic zone and not be subservient. Hindi tayo pwedeng sunod-sunuran sa China. Gusto natin makipagkaibigan sa China pero wag naman dahil sa pagkakaibigan natin sa kanila, i-give up na natin yung 550,000 square kilometers of sovereign and exclusive economic zone. Alam mo, tinataboy ng ang ating mga mangingisda, ipaglaban natin ang ating soberenya. Dati, ang kinikita nila 40 to 60,000 a month dahil nakakapunti sila doon sa malayo. Ngayon dahil wala na yung Coast Guard, wala na yung Navy, talagang hindi na sila, wala na pumuprotekta sa kanila. So dapat i-resume yung patrol, dapat i-resume yung Coast Guard para pag naroon yung ating mga mangingisda, meron silang takbuhan. Number one. Number two, para tumaas ang kanilang kita. Ngayon, 3,000 pesos a month na lang ang kinikita. Kulang-kulang pa. Panggasolina lang. So kawawa ang ating mangingisda. And so we have to fight for our exclusive economic zone. That is energy security dahil maraming oil dyan at gas reserves. That is food security dahil maraming isda dyan at aquamarine resources. Ipaglaban natin yung arbitral ruling. Dahil atin ang West Philippine Sea.
Usapang ekonomiya pa rin po tayo. Economic recovery.
Ruth, meron gustong sabihin si Senate President?
Yes, I think it's very important that the audience or our people know that I personally filed in the Senate the creation of the establishing maritime zones. The maritime zones will define the internal waters, the archipelagic waters, the territorial waters, and the economic zones of the country. Wala tayo noon. Kung ang China mayroong 9 dash line, wala tayong maritime zones, hindi maliwanag. That is why I filed the bill to ngayon linawin mabuti yan. At pag dyan, pinasok tayo nung kapitbahay natin, papasok yung MDT, yung Mutual Defense Treaty. Ang kalaban nila, si Canona.
Thank you very much for that statement.
Mr. David.
Yes, Mr. David, you would like to rebut and add?
Nais ko lamang magtanong kay Ginoong Kiko Pangilinan. Kasi paulit-ulit naman yung sinasabi niya na labanan natin. No? Panahon pa ni Aquino at nitong kay Duterte, wala naman tayong nagawa doon sa sinasabi natin, ipaglaban natin . So sa papaano mong paraan gagawin yung pakikipaglaban sa China para irespeto yung ating karapatan doon sa ating mga katubigan dyan sa West Philippine Sea. We cannot just simply say, ipaglaban natin. At ang nangyayari pa, sa mga proposals nyo, ang nangyayari pa, pinapatronize nyo yung ating mahihirap. Hindi nyo naman sila ini-empower with all those things that you're presenting. Libreng ganito, ayudang ganyan. That is not empowerment. That is patronage.
Siguro, can I respond?
Senator Kiko, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes. Siguro hindi narinig ni Ginoong David yung kanina kong sinabi dahil sabi ko nga, we will resume the Coast Guard patrols in the area. We will resume the Navy patrols in the area. So yun ang gagawin para maprotektahan ang ating mga mangingisda at ma-assert natin ang ating soberenya ron. Number 2, we will have to engage with ASEAN. Indonesia, Vietnam, they are also concerned about the aggression of China. We should align with ASEAN neighbors who together we can strengthen our position that this aggression is not right. And number 2, the US, Australia, Japan are also concerned about this 9-dash line illegal claim, fake claim. And we have to also align and strengthen our alliances with them so that we have a broad alliance that will assert or will oppose this unacceptable 9-dash claim of China.
But we also have to take note, Senator Kiko, that China's navy is far larger than the Philippines. And it is very minuscule compared to the power of China.
Far larger than Vietnam and Indonesia, but they have asserted their sovereignty over these waters. Indonesia even binomba nga, pinasabog yung Chinese vessel eh. Hindi naman ibig sabihin gera.
In response to the two
So
gentlemen.
we have to assert. I'm not saying we should atakihin natin sila. Pero pagka tayo na wino-water cannon, hindi naman tayo pwedeng nakangalang. We have to, our Navy and our Coast Guard must defend our sovereign waters. And it starts with being present in these areas by having these patrols.
Gusto ng ating mga kandidato na marinig din yung side nila sa issue na ito. We have Congressman Bello. Yes, sir.
Napakita na natin dito yung magiging foreign policy ng Lenny Kiko administration at saka nung Lacson Soto administration. Sinabi na ni Senate President na he is going to invite the United States, to oppose China. Papasok na lang daw dyan, no? MDT, Mutual Defense Treaty. Hindi humari yan. We have to have an independent foreign policy. And ito naman si Senator Pangilinan, we will join the Quad. Come on! This is dominated by the Australia,
I did not say,
US,
I did not say
etc.
we will join the Quad.
No, but you said that you are going to align with the Quad.
No, Senator.
No,
No interruptions, please.
That
We
is
will have to let
consistent
Mr. Bello
with the
finish.
Aquino administration's pro-US policy. You're just carrying that out again.
Say we would join the Quad. You look at the tapes. Please, let's stick to the facts.
Let's stick to the facts.
Professor, let's stick to the facts. You are a
stick to the
professor.
facts. Let's stick
you
to the
are a
facts,
professor.
yes.
Stick
All right,
to the facts.
we'll have to end it there for now. And Senate President, you would like to respond?
Because I was alluded to.
Yes.
Yes,
I
go
never
ahead.
said invite. I did not use the word invite. I wonder where he got it.
Mr. Bello, please,
No,
let us finish Senate
you
President's
follow, you follow the agreement that we have. We have a treaty. We have an agreement. Once pinasok tayo ng foreign, kahit hindi China, kahit sinong foreign, may aggression sa atin. And if they do that in the maritime zones that I am saying na dapat ay ating markahan, papasok ang Mutual Defense Treaty. Automatic yun. And the Department of State of the United States has already said that. There's no one being invited here. Yun ang batas, yun ang agreement, yun ang treaty.
Let's invite them in.
No, that's not inviting.
have SP
It's not inviting.
finish.
Anong gustuhin
All
natin?
foreign
Pasukin
policy.
tayo ng
Mr.
China.
Let's
Bello,
have new
please,
think
let's
tank.
follow the rules.
Oh. Anong gusto natin? Pasukin lang tayo ng China, hindi tayo papalag? Bubukaka tayo? Ba, hindi pwede.
Mr. Bello. All right. We've heard both sides. We've heard their arguments. We have many topics to cover for this vice presidential debate, and we would like to inform all our candidates, please, no interruption. It was stated in the rules when we began this program. So we shall move on.
Sinabi na po natin kanina, sorry, na kailangang patayin natin yung mic pag meron pong pumapasok habang nagsasalita ang isang kandidato. Please respect the rules. Okay. We have... Yes, sir. Marami pa pong
We are
pagkakataon
also
na
trying to
makapagsalita
control
lahat.
because there's so many issues that we need to cover in this debate. All right.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Ruth.
The next topic is all about economic recovery. Ito po ay isang topic rin na malapit sa ating publiko. It's a priority of any government in any part of the world. But before we talk about how we can move forward as a nation, pag-usapan muna natin yung realidad ngayon. Alam po namin, ramdam ng lahat yung linggo-linggo na pagtaas na presyo ng ating gasolina. And as vice presidential candidates, you're also here to represent the policies of your running mate. What would your administration do to help consumers cope with rising fuel prices? Alam naman natin na may domino effect yan kasi tataas yung transport costs and that will also affect yung prices of basic goods and commodities. Kaya apektado po ang budget ng bawat pamilya. So ang tanong natin una ay kay Mr. Rizalito David. Ano po ang gagawin ng inyong administrasyon para mapigilan po or matulungan ng mga consumers to deal with the rising oil prices?
Alam nyo, 2 beses na ako nanawagan sa palasyo at I hope na narinig din ng ating mga senador at mga congressmen na magpatawag si Ginoong Pangulo, Rodrigo Duterte, ng special session of Congress para bigyan siya ng power to suspend the implementation of the excise taxes and probably bawasan yung value-added tax at the pump, That would reduce the price by at least mga 5 to 6 pesos already, which is substantial para makarecover din yung ating mga ngalakal at ating mga drivers, Ang isang pinaka-importante dito, pinabayaan natin kasi na ibenta yung isang napakalaking asset natin noong panahon ni Ramos, yung Petron, na napakalaki ang kinikita. Ang sa akin, kung kami ang mamumuno, i-reacquire natin yung Petron para ito ang mag-barometer ng pricing ng ating fuel requirements dito sa bansa at makapag-refine tayo ng sarili nating fuel, Yan, importanteng bagay yan. Wala kasi tayong control dahil wala tayong sarili nating oil company. Kaya yun ang nais kong mangyari.
Doc Willie-ong, nakikita po natin ngayon ang sitwasyon sa Eastern Europe. Russia invading Ukraine. At nakikita po natin na umaakyat ngayon ang presyo ng krudo. Mahigit ng o lampas ng $100 per barrel. Ano po ang ating solusyon? Because pag umaakyat po ang presyo ng gasolina, lahat po naaapektuhan.
Yes, tama yung sinabi mo, Rico, talaga problema natin sa Russia and Ukraine, tataas ang presyo ng gasolina, kuryente. Ang plano namin ni Mayor Isko ay pag nanalo siya, ibababa natin yung tax by 50% sa petrolyo at 50% yung tax sa kuryente para at least mabawasan ng mga 5 to 6 pesos. Itutuloy natin yung mga ayuda sa ating kababayan kasi nahirapan sila. Tulad ng ginawa ni Mayor Isko sa Maynila. Ngayon, February, March, meron niya siyang ayuda ng 700,000 food boxes para lang maibsan. Problema talaga sa kuryente, isa pa, yung malampayan natural gas natin, mauubos na by 2027. Diba? So magre-rely na lang tayo sa iba, sa coal at renewable energy. Itataas natin yung renewable energy, pero yung pinag-aawayan natin kanina dito sa West Philippine Sea sa ating kababayan, ano ba pinag-aawayan? Yung West Philippine Sea po kasi may 190 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. May 11 billion barrels of oil na nakatago doon. Tapos 7% ng mga isda natin nandun. Kaya kung pwede siguro muna hindi maggera, kausapin natin maigi yung China, sabihin natin atin to. Kung merong 60-40 deal, tignan natin. Pero syempre, kaibigan pa rin natin yung Amerika kasi Amerika magbibigay ng armas sa atin. So kung pwede makuha itong mga yaman na to para bumaba na yung presyo sa gas at kuryente. Salamat po.
Now let's go to Senator Tito Soto.
We have a silver bullet to these problems, encompassing fuel, poverty, BRAVE. Matagal na namin programang tinutulak ni Senator Lacson ito. At we have ibinabagay na namin sa panahon. It stands for Budget Reform Advocacy for Village Empowerment. Ang kailangan kasi, nakahanda tayo. Whatever mangyari sa oil sa ibang bansa, iba kung nakahanda tayo sa baba. Dapat ang budget reform natin manggaling sa bottom-up budgeting. Hindi kasulad na nangyayari ngayon na ceiling, bibigyan ng ceiling yung mga departamento, magsasubmit ng kung ano-ano, hindi alam kung ano nangyayari sa baba. Merong disconnect. Samantalang, kung ang magagawin natin ay yung budget reform na bottom-up, inaalam mo sa barangay, ano mga pangangailangan nyo? Akyat sa Municipal Development Council, akyat sa Regional District Development Council, akyat sa national level. Pagdating ng National Expenditure Program, maliwanag yung mga pangangailangan sa baba. Pasama na din niya yung subsidy sa public transport. Kung tataas ang fuel sa ibang bansa, magkakaroon tayo ng problema sa oil, meron tayong subsidy para sa mga public transport natin.
You're watching a CNN Philippines special presentation.
Meron pong gustong sabihin na si Mr. Manny Lopez.
Yes, thank you very much. Napansin ko po, namimigay tayo ng mga billion-billion dito in this program, no? But the truth of the matter, the reality that we will be facing is one that will require belt tightening. Sapagkat ang pandemya po, the repercussions of this pandemic, ay nahirapan ang global economy, ang ating local economy, maraming out of jobs, maraming mga iba't ibang mga micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises na nalulugi. So we came up with a three-pronged socio-economic development and political reform agenda. And this will require a new omnibus investment code, a streamlined bankruptcy law, and provision for low-interest loans para po makabangon ang ating mga MSMEs, ang ating agrikultura, ang ating mga professionals, at ang mga consumers. Sapagkat pag nakabangon po yan, babangon din ang ating national economy.
May gusto po atang sabihin si Congressman Bello. You have 1 minute, sir.
Yes, I think it would be very important with respect to yung sinabi ni Mr. David, that we not only have Petron back, but we repeal the oil deregulation law para naman may control tayo sa mga presyo. No? Secondly, kailangan na ng price controls. And, you know, when there's an emergency, there has to be price controls. And then, back to this situation, the Senate, you know, passed this, itong lowering the income tax of the corporations in the midst of the pandemic, no? From 30 to 20 for local and from 30 to 25 for foreign corporations. And Senator Pangilinan was part of that. Senator Soto was part of that. It was pushed by the Duterte administration. So what the hell? You're saying you're for MSMEs and then you're bringing down the taxes of the big ones.
Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan mamaya. Posible pa tayong pumunta sa topic
yes,
ng
Mr.
ekonomiya.
Lopez would like to
More?
add.
Okay.
Briefly.
As an economist and a management professional, I think we will have to strike a balance. When the budgeting and the priorities of the national government were undertaken, this was a pre-pandemic scenario. So accordingly, ang mga projections po, mga economic projections, ay nakasaad sa ganong senaryo. Ngayon, under the pandemic, you know, with all the repercussions, negative repercussions, I would also agree with Professor Bello na kailangan magkaroon ng corresponding adjustments. And I think the Senate can handle this. Our two very distinguished you know, co-BP candidates.
Okay, mamaya mas marami pa tayong...
Just very quickly,
Okay.
sinagot ko na yung
Go ahead.
point ni Ginoong Bello na we have to strike a balance, and that's why we put we are putting a 100 billion assistance fund for small and medium enterprises, as we also allow for investments from abroad, for example, to come in. So it's a balance that we answered the question already earlier.
Mamaya marami pa tayong pagkakataon na marinig ang ating mga kandidato. You're watching a CNN Philippines special presentation. When we return, the war on drugs and the International Criminal Court. This is the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022. Stay with us.
We'll be right back.
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List.
This presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City. Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City. Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
D-Triple-X Zamboanga, wherever you want it. We've got it covered in the Philippines' largest network. This is Radio Philippines Network. The power, the first, the leader.
Este el de con todo suena claro y mafuerza estación de radio na entero Weste Mindanao. RPN D-Triple-X Radio Ronda Zamboanga. Suena balance, mafuerza. Este el RPN.
Welcome back to Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022. I'm Ruth Cabal.
And I'm Rico Hizon. 7 vice presidential candidates are pitching their platforms to Filipino voters ahead of our general elections on May the 9th. And before we proceed to our
Paalala
next,
lang natin, no,
yes,
sa
to our
ating
next
mga kandidato
question.
na wag po tayong mag-i-interrupt pag sumasagot po ang isang kandidato. Sana po maintindihan nyo na kasi mas maganda pag naririnig ng buo ang sagot ng isang kandidato. I'm sure yun din ang gusto ng ating mga manonood.
And when everybody speaks over each other, it is the Filipino people who do not understand your platform of government and why you want to run and become the next vice president of the country. Thank you very much for your cooperation. And of course, Ruth, we would also like to mention to our viewers that on social media, on Twitter, hashtag CNNPH VP Debate is currently one of the top trending.
Kaya pwede po kayo mag-tweet or mag-comment sa ating Facebook para malaman din natin kung ano yung reactions nyo.
A recent survey found that Filipinos have identified 5 top issues that the current administration should immediately address. Number 1 is fighting graft and corruption. Candidates, we want to look at your track record. What have you done in the past to prove that as the next Vice President, you will have the ability and capacity to fight graft and corruption? Unahin natin si Rizalito David.
Ang corruption po ay nagmumula sa takot. Nagmumula sa takot. It can be rooted in fear. And in fear, nade-develop yung greed. Maraming panahon ko na pong sinasabi na dapat magkaroon tayo sa ating lipunan ng revolusyon sa pananampalataya. Pretty much naman kasi alam natin ang mga sagot dyan sa ating mga problema. Pero bakit hindi nangyayari na masagutan natin? Dahil nagkukulang tayo sa pag-ibig, no? Hindi political will, pag-ibig. Kaya po, yung corruption ay yumayabong dahil wala tayong pag-ibig sa ating kapwa. Kaya po ako, parating sinasabi ko, ibalik natin ang gobyerno kay Kristo. No? Restore all things in Christ. Yun ang pratikong panawagan. Magkaroon tayo ng himagsikan sa ating pananampalataya. Simply put, live our faith. Yun lang naman parati yun eh. Wala na, lahat ng batas ginawa na natin para maiwasan ang korupsyon, pero walang nangyayari. Bakit? Kasi nasa puso yun, yung takot at yung kasakiman, no? Na kailangan mawala at mawawala lamang yan kung tayo'y magbabago. Magkaroon ng pagbabago ang lipunan kung ang bawat isa ay magkakaroon ng pagpapanibago sa pamamagitan ng pag-aalay ng sarili sa mga turo ng ating Panginoon.
Senator Kiko Pangilinan, your track record on fighting graft and corruption.
Well, 3 beses na tayong hinalal ng ating mga kababayan bilang senador mula noong 2001 at mahalaga sa akin ang tiwala na ibinigay sa atin ng ating mga kababayan. Kaya tiniyak natin na sa 3 termino natin ni minsan, hindi tayo nasangkot sa anumang kaso ng anomalya, number 1. So maliwanag yan. Number 2, nung tayo ay NFA chairman ng NFA board, for the first time in 42 years, nag-reject ng bid ang NFA dahil masyadong mataas. In fact, 4 na beses tayo nag-reject ng bid. Hindi daw nangyari yan sa 42 taon ng NFA. Bakit nag-reject? Kasi mataas. Bakit mataas? Dahil merong isinisingit na tongpats. At sa 4 nating pag-reject, nabababa nila ang presyo ng Thailand at Vietnam ng kanilang ino-offer na bigas. At nakatipid tayo ng 7 billion pesos dahil dito. So, yan ang ating track record at siyempre, nung first term natin, talagang binusisi natin at dinepensa ang pagmamodernisa ng ating justice system. Dinagdagan natin ang sahod ng mga huwes, binaba natin ang vacancy rate sa huwes nung tayo member ng JBC, nadagdagan din ang benepisyo ng ating mga prosecutor. Dahil pag malakas ang sistema ng katarungan, talaga ang corruption mababawasan talaga dahil napaparusahan ang dapat parusahan.
Now may we hear from Manny Lopez.
Thank you. As a private citizen, businessman, and public official, I once served also in NFA GrainScore as its president and general manager. And I fought graft and corruption to the fullest extent of my capability and my ability. And I lost. Why? Because there is no political will to fight graft and corruption in this country. It has become endemic, and it seems to get worse as we, elect more distinguished legislators and more distinguished officials. So, what do we propose? How do we address graft and corruption more effectively? We can look at it from a systemic perspective, because graft and corruption in this country has become systemic. It does require systemic solutions. And we have this e-governance system that could address specific loopholes in the public financial system. And we can adopt this. This is likewise a UN-approved and supported initiative. And as our distinguished colleagues here have mentioned, fighting graft and corruption will require a renewal of our faith in ourselves, in our country, and our desire to fight graft and corruption.
Let's move on sa isa pang mainit na issue. Noong November, the International Criminal Court put on hold its investigation into the country's controversial war on drugs. It was in response to the government's deferral request. Ang sabi ng gobyerno natin, gagawa na lang daw sila ng sarili nilang investigasyon dito. Candidates, your presidents have different views on cooperating or not with the ICC. But we want to know first and foremost from you, will you push to have the country rejoin the ICC? Please explain your answer. We start with SP Soto.
Yes, obviously, because we passed in the Senate a resolution and a petition I filed with the Supreme Court na sinasabi namin sa Supreme Court na desisyonan yung sinasabi na kapag kami ay pumasok sa isang agreement or treaty, two-thirds vote ang binibigay ng konstitusyon at binibigay sa Senado at binibigay namin. Pero once mag-abrogate, ang sinasabi namin sa Senado, kailangan paalam din sa amin. Kailangan ipasa din namin na sinasabi namin payag kami i-abrogate. Because the abrogation done by the Executive Department was unilateral. Kaya yun ang sinasabi na obviously, ang Senado ay pabor doon, or kami, majority in the Senate, pabor, na pag-usapan yan at ibalik tayo. At kung gusto mag-imbestiga ng ICC dito sa atin, ayaw mag-imbestiga. Wala tayong tinatago, wala tayong dapat katakutan. And, well, I wish I was able to given a chance about the corruption. Perhaps later. Sige.
Thank you po. Puntahan natin si Mr. Serapio. Ano pong masasabi niyo sa rejoining ICC or not?
Yes, as a respectable member of the international community, I join the Senate President in his stand that we should rejoin the International Criminal Court. And for that matter, we should also be part of all other international organizations which help promote international harmony, cooperation, and amity that is provided for in our Constitution. So that's my short answer to this question.
And Doc Willie Ong, what is your point of view on this issue? Rejoin or stay out of the International Court?
Salamat, Rico. Siyempre, yes tayo. Sasali tayo ulit sa ICC. Pero ang problema talaga natin itong war on drugs, di ba? I think kahit ito sa mga international organizations, yung criminal justice approach, minsan hindi yun ang pinakamaganda pag-solve ng war on drugs. Kailangan natin yung public health approach tulad na sinabi ni Senator Tito Soto. Ang addiction po kasi, may problema po sa prefrontal cortex. Dito sa harap natin, na-addict talaga yung tao. Kung di siya na-addict sa shabu, baka mag-Novain siya o mag-cough syrup siya. So, sakit po siya. So 98% are mga users, 2% lang ang pushers. So kailangan focus natin science-based, kailangan bawasan ng stigma sa mga gumagamit, paparamihin natin yung mga libreng gamot. May gamot na kasi pang-solve o pang-cure sa mga nagiging drug addict. Hindi pwede yung ikukulong, tapos pagbalik, magiging addict sila ulit. At paparamihan yung psychologists, psychiatrists, at ililibre yung mga gamot dito. Sa Maynila, kay Mayor Isko, talagang 97% ay nahuhuli at hindi sila napapatay.
Napakinggan po natin yung mga response ng ating mga candidates that they will rejoin. What about cooperation with the ICC? And to what extent will you cooperate with the International Criminal Court? This question is for you, Walden Bello.
Well, the short answer is full cooperation, and we will make sure that there's a coordination between our justice system and the ICC, because 27,000 extrajudicial executions directed from Malacanang, President Duterte cannot escape this responsibility. And he should be prosecuted, and I believe he will be prosecuted and brought to a cell in The Hague. And we will support it. Calyode and I will in fact support this. But I would just like to say something. Yung rewriting of history, si Senator Soto, he's rewriting history. Noong kasagsagan ng war on drugs, did he say anything critical of the president? Did he protect Senator Laila De Lima, who was a member of the Senate? No? I mean, he was just supportive during that time when the president was destroying the integrity of the Senate. No? So, Senator Soto, please don't rewrite history. You were an ally of the president until just very recently. Okay? So, let's be frank with our kababayan naman. Huwag tayo magsisinungaling dito. Kaya, mahirap po yan. Hindi ho ba anti-terror law itinulak nyo? Oh boy, come on.
Senate President.
I think former Congressman Bello has got his figures all wrong. Ano, una, and then later I want to ask, what do you mean by ally? If because kung dahil kami magkaibigan, ally na ako. I have preserved the independence of the Senate always. And you can ask the members of the minority and the majority. Ngayon, ito, why do I say he's got it all wrong? Kaya ako open na ang ICC mag-imbestiga rito. From the 2016 up to the present, October 2021, there were 258,000 drug operations. This is on the issue of illegal drugs, of drug operations. There were 378,000 arrests. And there were only 6,021 related to these drug operations that died. So kung may EJK at sinasabi nila, binibintang nila kay President Duterte, dapat 378,000 ang patay. Hindi totoo yun, 21,000. Kung ano pinapadala nilang figures sa ICC,
Senate
hindi
President,
totoo yun.
your time is up.
You have the records speak for itself.
Senator Kiko, the question now is to you. Will you cooperate with the ICC, just apart from rejoining?
Yes, of course. In fact, we were one of those petitioners who questioned the withdrawal by the president of our membership in the ICC. So unfortunately, the Supreme Court did not share our view that the withdrawal should have been concurred by the Senate. So we will cooperate with the ICC. Yes. But again, a second petition was raised by the Senate President. Pero yung petition namin na kine-question yung pag-withdraw sa ICC ay hindi tinanggap ng Supreme Court. But yes, we will support first the rejoining and we will cooperate.
All right. Mr. Bello would like to rebut, but first we will go to Mr. Manny Lopez.
I support the war on drugs because I see the implications of our nation becoming a narco state. While on the same premise, I also believe that human rights should be protected. So the president took this lose-lose proposition by the horn and to bring in foreign interference based on their values, based on their perceptions, to actually intervene in Philippine affairs is not a good proposition, not a good idea for the sake of our country and for our people. And so I think while there is a clamor to rejoin the ICC, it has to be timely. And we have to look at this we have to look at this biggest issue that is hounding the Duterte administration in a balanced manner.
Balikan po natin si Mr. Bello for your rebuttal, sir.
Yes, again, wag ho tayo mag-rewrite ng history, no? Kasi lahat naman, all the key legislative initiatives na itinulak ni President Duterte, who was the biggest backer? It was Mr. Soto. The Anti-Terror Act, the Public Services Act, the Retail Trade Liberalization Act, the Foreign Investment Amendment Act, the Rice Tariffication Act, you name it. He never dissented from any major legislative push by the President. Kaya hindi independent ang kandidatong ito. I mean, wag ho tayo mag-rewrite ng history. And, by the way, Mr. Soto, you never defended your colleague, Senator De Lima, when she was hauled out of the Senate. I mean, you just begged President Duterte to fall on your knees, and you didn't even oppose it.
I did not.
Okay.
All right. Senate President, you were alluded to by Mr. Bello. Out of respect, this will be the final answer
Yes.
for this particular issue.
Why don't you ask Senator De Lima herself? Because I did not allow her to be arrested in the Senate. That's one thing. Now, all the bills and all the laws that former Congressman Bello mentioned are all for the benefit of the people. Anti-terror law, bakit? Gusto mo ba, terrorist? Kampi tayo sa terrorist. Hahayaan natin sila, gano'n na lang. Hindi ba? Yung foreign investments, bakit? Ayaw natin makika-recover ang ekonomiya. Ano, nakasadlak na lang tayo. Baksak na lang. Well, we should allow that. And then, I don't think it's wrong if I'm a friend of the President. As long as the Senate is independent, ang lahat ng pinasa namin sa Senado, kahit na pandemic, I was never absent, never late, kahit na to the detriment of my health. Wala akong pakialam because I was doing my job. Ano? I only relied on Psalm 91. That's it.
Okay. We move on to another topic. As we mentioned, yun na muna yung huli for this one. Yung susunod natin, a study finds that provinces where political dynasties thrive are generally poorer. Because of this, yung mga magkakapamilya po, hindi na nababantayan ng isa't isa, nawawalan ng checks and balances, nandiyan ang impunity, corruption, and even violence.
But this year, elections are still dominated by political dynasties. Candidates, we want to know where you stand on this. We'll find out after a short break. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. The Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022.
This is D-Triple-X, NOA kilohertz in Zamboanga.
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sugabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List. This program is brought to you by Asia United Bank Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sugabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, SH Thrift Shop, located at Santa Maria, Zamboanga City. RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City. Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative. Sangkula Rice Dealer. Alamia Trading.
This is Radio Philippines Network, D-Triple-X Zamboanga, D-Triple-X Zamboanga. This is Radio Philippines Network, the power, the first, the leader. Solid for news and information, public service and entertainment. This is D-Triple-X, NOA kilohertz in Zamboanga. Look out for the leader, D-Triple-X Zamboanga, now. This is Radio Philippines Network, D-Triple-X Zamboanga, D-Triple-X Zamboanga. The Great 108 starts it off.
This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. The Philippines law has been passed to enforce it. Critics say it's because lawmakers themselves come from political dynasties. Pending pa rin ang anti-political dynasty bills sa Senado at sa lower house. What can you do differently as Vice President? As we said, a study finds that provinces where political dynasties thrive are generally poorer. Let's begin with Carlos Serapio.
Salamat. Salamat. Ngayon lamang pumasok ang usapin o issue sa aming ngayon lamang pumasok ang usapin o issue sa aming transition platform at program of action. Lahat ng pinag-uusapan kanina nakapasok sa lumang sistema. Kaya nahihirapan din kaming magtaas ng kamay at sumagot dito. Dahil ang banggaan sa ngayon ng Netflix dyan. Dahil ang power base ng operating system is an oligarchic and elitist dynastic power base. So there is incompatibility between the objective of ending political dynasties in the country and the operating system. So ang magagawa po namin ay yung aming sinusulong sa ngayon. Isinusulong namin ang paglalagay ng bagong sistema sa pagtatalaga ng puno bayanihang constitution sapagkat doon hindi kailangan ng enabling legislature.
Bali, ako lang po tumatakbo sa pamilya ko. Wala kaming politik.
That political dynasty should definitely be not tolerated.
Sunod naman po nating maririnig si Dr. Willie Ong.
Yes, oo. Bali, ako lang po tumatakbo sa pamilya ko. Wala kaming political dynasty. Pati si Mayor Isko, dynasty, di ba? Pero meron namang mga paraan. Masyado kasi tayong strict hindi naman matutuloy din to, hindi rin naman papasa. Pero pwede tayong gumawa ng mga variations. Baka pwede may gap muna, may isang term para at least hindi gamitin yung resources nung nahalal para tulungan yung anak niya, kamag-anak niya. Pwede rin naman so kailangan may gap, tsaka may limit lang yung dami ng kamag-anak na po pwede. Siguro 2 o 3. Isang plano ni Mayor Isko na naisip namin, dahil meron tayong 17 region gusto niya yung pag-elect ng senators per region. Ito yung isang idea na magkakaroon ng 2 senator per region, so 34 lahat. So makakatulong to sa pag-develop ng mga regions natin. Merong tututok sa mga Muslim Mindanao at iba. At bababa din yung gastos ng mga senador sa pagtakbo. Isa po to ang iniisip natin para maging mas balanse yung Pilipinas, hindi puro Maynila lang po. Salamat.
Walden Bello, what are you going to do with the political dynasties?
Well, the Marcos dynasty and the Duterte dynasty, we're seeing how they represent really the greatest evil of the political system that we have. Which is why it is very important for our people, if you really want to oppose political dynasties, here is coming to power. Make sure that you tell them that you are not going to come to power just to eat up the Philippines between the two of you. So nasa sa voters niya ngayon. Okay? And that is why we are appealing, don't vote for these dynasts. And I'm really terribly sorry that Mayor Duterte is not here to face the people. She is a coward. Just like Bongbong Marcos is a fucking coward.
Open naman po tayo just in case gustong magpadala ng response ni Mayor Sara Duterte.
Oh, I would love to debate her. Wow!
Moving on, still in politics, ito po para kay SP Soto. Surveys show former Senator Bongbong Marcos is leading by a wide margin. Our question is two-pronged. What if both of you win? What would a Marcos Soto administration look like? And how do you plan on working with the former senator?
I have not given it a thought. I will use my experience and my competence in facing and addressing issues of national concerns. After 30 years, palagay ko naman ay nakahanda ako dito. So ganun ang aking thinking. So wala akong iniisip na kung iba ang mananalo at this point.
And if Mayor Sara Duterte was here, we would also have asked her a similar question. If VP Robredo wins, what would a Robredo-Duterte administration look like? And how does she plan to work with Leni Robredo? And if Mayor Duterte would like to answer the question, of course, later on, she is welcome to do so on CNN Philippines.
At nandito naman yung running mate ni Vice President Leni Robredo. So si Senator Kiko, we have the same question for you. What would a Marcos Pangilinan administration look like? And ano ang plano nyo para makatrabaho ang dating senador?
Well, kaya ang hiling natin sa ating mga botante ay suportahan yung Leni-Kiko tandem para hindi magulo. Para nagkakaisa ang presidente at vice-presidente, yan ang pinakamainam para sa tapat na gobyerno. No? At iaangat natin nga ang lahat. So yun ang ating pakay. Ngayon, having said that, magtatrabaho tayo para sa mga magsasaka at mangingisda at food security, anuman ang maging resulta ng halalan kung tayo ipag-ari.
And Rizalito David would also like to have his statement because there's various combinations, no? What if it's a Rizalito David or a Bongbong Marcos or Leni Robredo presidency? How are you planning to cooperate with them? Mr. David.
I think malinaw naman yung aking advocacy. No? Kung sino man ng uupong Pangulo, i-offer ko yung aking sarili para tumulong. Subalit kung ayaw naman niya, itutuloy ko pa rin yung advocacy ko outside of the government. Yun lang naman ang pwede nating gawin. Ano? Gawa doon. Babantayan na lang natin kung ano ang gagawin niya kapag siya ng abuso, gagamitin natin yung Office of the Vice President para siya ay, kumbagay, labanan dun sa kanyang pang-aabuso.
Our next question goes to Carlos Serapio. The 2022 budget of the...
That means the political party has designed the Office of the Vice President, not just to support the President, and also at the same time to abide by the constitutional provision on the role of the Vice President. But we want the Office of the Vice President to be a table of idealism. It will be a table of philosophy, of advocacy, of aspirations, of vision. Most especially, it will be a table for the young people, for the young generation. yung experience namin sa halos 50 taon ng pakikipaglaban para sa pagbabago ng ating sistema ay iyon ang maibabahagi natin sa ating mga kabataan. Sa ngayon kasi, ang nakikita nila, puro yung away sa kasalukuyang sistema. Labanan ng kulay at labanan lamang ng kung sino ang mas mabuti o sino ang mas masama. We are in a state of moral convolution. And unfortunately, our politics, our elections have not really been able to resolve this issue of moral convolution. And therefore, we have to introduce what we call as strategic, innovative exercises in the political process so that our young people will see something different than what is going on with our politics. So yung budget na yung kakasya na yun para namin maisagawa iyan.
Ngayon naman po, pakinggan natin si Mr. Ronnie Lopez. Paano niyo po gagastusin ang budget ng...
You have to initiate some initiatives, no? Some reforms to prevent the occurrence or the incumbency of bad dynasties. And I think this is high time because, you know, the political landscape is now packed with dynasties. And if the country
Now,
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List.
This presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City. Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City. Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
suena, balance, mapuerza. Este el RPND XXX, Radio Ronda Zamboanga.
Look out for the leader, D-XXX Zamboanga. Now. D-XXX Zamboanga, wherever you want it, we've got it covered in the Philippines' largest network. This is Radio Philippines Network, the power, the first, the leader. Get it off, get it off, get it off, get it off.
RPN, the Leader Network. D-XXX, 1008 kilohertz, the voice of the Leader Network in Zamboanga City.
We are live at the University of Santo Tomas Quadricentennial Pavilion, and you are watching a CNN Philippines special presentation, The Filipino Votes, Vice Presidential Debate 2022. We have seen 7 out of 9 candidates who are seeking the second highest office of the land, and they are answering your questions. In an interview with CNN Philippines, you said that the country's billionaires should pay more taxes to generate more funds for the poor. We'd like to know more about these additional taxes to the rich that you are talking about, and how exactly, Mr. Bello, will these funds be allocated to the...
Now, this is quite small. Okay, if you look at taxation rates in other countries, they go on the top levels, 20, 30, 35% in the US, something like around 39% in Germany. So our rich have no cause to complain. So this is going to be made as transfer payment to social services. Is this going to be possible? Of course, it is possible. One, it is very small part of their income. It is possible. One, it is very small part of their income. That there are, in fact, many people among the rich in this country at this point, especially the younger rich, who are saying that we really need to be socially responsible. And then 3 is even Joey Salceda has said, that rich now have to pay because they benefited from the pandemic. So this is a very sound thing.
Itutuloy natin ang issue dito sa buwis, and Senator Soto, you and your running mate, Senator Ping Lacson, have criticized the Finance Department's proposal for new taxes to manage government debt. Sabi po ninyo, ayusin ang pagkolekta ng buwis. How will you resolve the collection of taxes?
Who's saying that we really need to be socially responsible. And then 3 is even Joey Salceda has said, that rich now have to pay because they benefited from the pandemic. So this is a very sound thing.
Itutuloy natin ang issue dito sa buwis.
For it already, hindi kinukumpleto. Bakit? They want human intervention. Once we remove human intervention, we remove corruption, and we improve the collection of taxes. Ganun mismo, kahit sa BIR, kailangan improve natin collection ng taxes. Hindi pa pwedeng dagdag ng tax. Nagbawas nga kami. We passed in the CREATE law that yung lahat ng below 250,000 a year ang kinikita, hindi dapat magbayad ng income tax. Pinasa din namin yun.
Okay, moving on to Mr. Manny Lopez, who is an economist. Your question, to increase taxes or not, at ano pong klase ng buwis?
I think the fiscal side of governance in this country has to improve. And there is a lot of room for improvement. First and foremost, the collection of taxes should be more efficient. Any avoidance of taxes should be penalized. And e-governance, as the good Senate President has mentioned, is a part of our legislative and executive agenda to improve efficiency in tax collection. On the same premise, on the other side of the coin, is to make best use of our taxes. And this means elimination of the leakages in the public finance sector, make our project implementation and program implementation more efficient, and there should be, better auditing procedures to make sure that every tax collected from the people should be spent wisely. So it's an overall picture, and the Public Finance Reform Management Act, which remains to be implemented up to this time, has not been implemented. And given the mandate to assume a more responsible position in this republic, we will make sure that our taxation system, our fiscal policy, will be improved dramatically. Thank you.
And since we are on the topic of tax collection, the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR, has been identified by the Anti-Corruption Task Force as one of the graft-prone agencies. Once upon a time, there was even a proposal to abolish the Bureau. Former President and Vice President turned lawmaker Gloria Macapagal Arroyo proposed in 2017 to replace the BIR with a National Revenue Authority. Ang sinabi niya, there is a need to address growing taxpayer dissatisfaction and the increasing perception of systemic corruption in the BIR. Our question is, as Vice President, how will you help end the systemic corruption in the BIR? Senator Pangilinan, you have 90 seconds.
Well, again, I will go back. Pag ikaw ay magnakaw nga ng mas marami, mas meron kang abuso sa pwesto. Hindi lang ng BIR at iba pang mga ahensya. Balikan ko rin lang, between imposing more taxes and having a more efficient system of collection, we would always should prioritize the latter. Dahil hindi nakokolekta. 700 billion pesos a year, sabi ng COA, ang nawawala sa corruption. Siyempre, ang pakiramdam ng taxpayer, ibinabayad ko sa inyo, ninanakaw lang ninyo. So, kinakailangan talaga ng mabilis na paglilitis at parusa ng corruption issues.
So, Senator Pangilinan, paano natin pwedeng iksian ang paglilitis? Alam natin dito ang hustisya sa Pilipinas, matagal sa mga korte.
Unang-una, fill up all the vacancies in our court system. There are about 25% of our courts walang judge, kaya mabagal. To add more courts. At magiging 2 years lang yan. Yung dami ng kaso ay hindi na overloaded ang court system natin. And of course, hire more judges, give them more support, and then ito nga, convene the JELAC, which is the Judiciary Executive Legislative Advisory Council. The Senate President
Pwede natin i-simplify yung pagbayad ng tax. Isa pa, pwede natin i-broaden, paramihin yung nagbabayad ng tax. Ayon sa pag-aaral, parang 19% lang ang nagbabayad eh. Kaya nahihirapan yung 19%. Kung mas marami ang magbabayad, mas magaan ito. At i-encourage natin yung mga tao na magbayad. Kasi yung buwis na binabayad nyo, yan ang pang sweldo sa teacher, di ba? Para proud tayo na magbayad. Pwede rin ayusin yung BIR eh. May concept na i-retire mo, tapos i-rehire mo yung iba. Pwede natin gawin to para malinis yung mga bad apples. Tuloy-tuloy din yung tulong natin sa MSME. Dagdag ko lang sa ibang bansa, meron silang philanthropy mindset eh. Meron silang Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, ang laking pera binibigay, long-term tulong sa Amerika. Sa atin, yung mayayaman natin, parang walang philanthropy mindset eh. Pero kulang tayo dyan. Kung yung mga mayayaman sa Pilipinas, gagawa ng long-term projects para ma-alleviate, matulungan tayong mga mahihirap. Salamat po.
Walden Bello, your response.
Well, I think that, let's be honest, no? Alam naman natin tax breaks na binibigay ng ating executive as well as the Senate and the House, no? Yung napakalaking tax break, yan yung create law. Binabaan yung corporate income tax from 30% to 20%. And for foreign businesses, from 30 to 25%. Ang laki, trilyon-trilyon na nawala sa atin yan. Ang tagal na ng agenda nila, even before pandemic. Pero ginamit tayo, they used the pandemic to get what they wanted. So, Senator Soto, Senator Pangilinan, pareho kayo nagboto sa CREATE Act. Pareho kayo nagboto sa tax breaks. So what are you saying?
Big tax breaks. So what are you saying, that you are not guilty of this process? Tama na yan, kalokohan na yan.
Senator Soto.
When we pass laws, it's the Congress that pass. Bakit pinag-iinitan mo kami dalawa?
Senator Soto.
Well, I don't think we should, huwag na natin patulan yung mga ganong style.
May I first?
Kiko?
Yes.
Kiko. And then we go to Mr. Manny Lopez.
Yes. Again, the issue of taxation is really a very sticky issue, no? Pero, nasa gitna tayo ng pandemya, hindi lang yung maliliit, pati yung mga malalaki na naapektuhan ng pandemya, yung negosyo nagsasara. And the CREATE law precisely, binabaan ito as a means to be able to provide support. Even the biggest companies like itong mga airline companies, billion-billion din ang nawawala sa kanila dahil dito sa pandemya. So we voted in favor of that because we recognized na iba ang kondisyon sa ngayon because of the pandemic. Unprecedented yung bagsak ng ating ekonomiya, unprecedented itong kawalan ng hanap buhay at trabaho. Kaya dapat unprecedented din ang kilos. I can understand yung concern ni Professor Bello regarding itong mga tax perks and tax breaks. But because it was a different, never before experienced pandemic which really killed, bagsak talaga yung ekonomiya, we felt it best to provide assistance and support for companies.
Mr. Manny Lopez.
I have a question to my fraternity brad, Senator Kiko Pangilinan. A very simple question lang, Brad. Kaya nyo bang, since you mentioned about judicial independence and objectivity, kaya nyo bang litisin ang fellow senator nyo kung nagkaroon ng malaking issue or participation in graft and corruption? I happen to be a participant of the Million People March. At ipinagmarcha po namin yan. And maraming mga legislators ang nasangkot dyan, reportedly about 100. Mabuti na lang ang fraternity brad ko, hindi kasali doon. And si Senator Soto. But as a general question, kaya nyo bang litisin ang kapwa nyo senador kung nasangkot sa graft and corruption?
Well, that's...
Very short answer lang po.
Merong ethics committee sa ating Senado, but of course, paglilitis ang pinag-usapan, sa hudikatura yan. No? And in fact, ang nangyari nga, nitong nakaraan, tatlong senador ang nakulong, no, dahil dun sa paglilitis sa Napoles Fund. Pero nung nanalo na ang bagong administration, o bago pa man at nung nanalo, yun, nabaliktad yung sitwasyon.
Senate President Tito Soto. And then finally,
Yes.
before we go to the break, Mr. Serapio.
Yes, the answer is in the affirmative. There is a committee on ethics. If there is a case filed against a senator, we will investigate, no matter what.
Briefly, Mr. Serapio.
Ito sistemang ito has reached its point of incompetence. No matter kung anumang subsystem or sectoral reform ang gawin, hindi po maaayos yan. Ang pinakasagot talaga rito ay total system change po. Kinakailangan tumawid tayo from the old political system to a new one. This is in the nature ng unitary system will always have this kind of problem po. Ganun po ang mangyayari dyan.
And speaking of corruption, it will be one of the priority topics in tomorrow's presidential debate with our very own Pio Ontiveros and Pinky Webb. Tune in to CNN Philippines for the presidential debate at 5 p.m.
You're watching the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022 right here at the University of San. Again, thank you so much, USC. And thank you to Very Reverend Father Richard Ang, the Rector of USC. After the break, we'll shift our focus to our most precious resource, our children. How do we keep educating and protecting them? We'll be right back. Stay with us.
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List. This program is brought to you by Asia United Bank Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, SH Thrift Shop, located at Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
El de con todo suena claro y vapor sa estasyon de radio na entero Weste Mindanao. RPN D-XXX Radio Ronda Zamboanga.
Solid for news and information, public service and entertainment. This is D-XXX, NOA kilohertz in Zamboanga. This is Radio Philippines Network, D-XXX Zamboanga, D-XXX Zamboanga. This is Radio Philippines Network, the power, the first, the leader. This This is Radio Philippines Network. E-Triple-X Zamboanga. E-Triple-X Zamboanga. The Great 108.
Suena, balance, mafuerza. Este el RPND Triple X, Radio Ronda Zamboanga.
Bisaya ni Bay. Mga istoryang katawanan, mga bahikik ug mahakha, istorya sa tubaan, mga kalipay ug pawala sa mga kalang.
This is the CNN Philippines special presentation, the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022, right here at the University of Santo Tomas. I'm Ruth. This is the CNN Philippines special presentation, the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022, right here at the University of Santo Tomas. I'm Ruth Cabal.
And here with us on stage are 7 out of the 9 vice presidential candidates. I'm Rico Hizon.
The UNICEF reported that since the pandemic was declared, we have seen an increase in children who have been left hungry, isolated, abused, and anxious. In addition, the pandemic has caused the most severe education disruption in the world. Dito po natin nakita yung isang problema sa bansa natin, yung gap, yung pagitan sa rich and poor students, lalo na pagdating sa internet access. Ang question natin, as Vice President, how can you make sure that the internet is more accessible and more affordable to the students? We want to hear from Dr. Willie Ong.
Yes, salamat sa question, Ruth. Talaga itong education talaga pinaka-problema natin kasama yung sa internet. Nakakalungkot talaga po yung mga datos sa mga bata natin, 33% malnourished or stunted, yung maliit ang height. Dati ang data, 50% may bulati sa tiyan. Paano mag-aaral kung anemic? 10,000 na bata namamatay bawat taon sa diarrhea. Maruming tubig, walang pang ospital. Kaya yung access sa internet, may plano kami ni Mayor Isko dyan sa fiber optic na gagawin niya. Pagdating sa school, anong problema natin? Bullying. Nako, sa Twitter natin ngayon, baka marami na nag-away. Philippines, 45% ang bullying. Sa ibang bansa, 8% lang. Kaya kita nyo naman internet natin. Isa pa, ito medyo hindi alam ito ng kababayan natin. 31% lang ang growth mindset sa Pilipinas.
Nationwide at libre para sa ating mga kababayan. Ang napasa at ang pinayagan ng DBM, 800,000 18 billion yung kailangan 800,000 Tinanong ko nga Senator Honasan, I know this because Senator Lacson is the one handling the budget of the DICT. And then tinanong namin Senator Honasan, ano magagawa niyo ng 800,000? Wala daw. Yun ang isang problema. Now, as far as the educational freedom of the institutions are concerned, I am all for it. Meron lang akong gusto idagdag sa educational system natin. Dapat yung grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, meron drug abuse resistance education program. Pagtungtong nila ng 13 years old, alam na nila, masama yung droga, masisira ang buhay ko dyan, masisira ang pamilya ko, masisira ang kinabukasan ko. Ganun dapat yan We will be saving more than 50% of these young boys na sila ay malulung dyan. Kung nandun na kaagad yung drug abuse resistance education program natin.
May we hear from Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Yung Robredo Pangilinan tandem ay mayroong plano para sa edukasyon. Immediately, pag-upo, yung 90 billion, isang gadget bawat estudyante.
Isa yan, para talagang mabigyan ng sapat na suporta. Pangalawa, 300 pesos Wi-Fi load allowance kada isang buwan habang siya ay nag-aaral. So 90 billion yan immediately. Pero ang matinding problema din na dapat tugunan ay yung malnutrition ng ating mga anak. Paano ka mag-aaral ng maayos kung kumakalamang sikmura mo? Sabi nga, 95 young people are dying every day, our children, because of malnutrition. At yun ang ating kinakailangan gawin. Because we are food insecure. Yung stunting. Bakit stunting? Bakit maliliit? Bakit hindi lumalaki? Kulang ang nutrisyon, kulang ang timbang, kulang ang tangkad. Kinakailangan talaga tugunan yung food security. At paano natin gagawin yan? Dodoblehin ang budget ng agrikultura at titriplihin ang tiyak na yung dagdag na budget, madadagdagan ang ayuda at suporta sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda para tumaas ang kanilang ani at tumaas ang kanilang huli at pagka marami ng supply ng pagkain sa ating merkado, bababa ang presyo ng pagkain. Yun nga, hello pagkain, goodbye gutom.
And this is a question for Mr. Serapio. UNICEF has also found that the Philippines is the epicenter of the live stream sexual abuse trade. Research found a 265% spike in online sexual abuses between March and May 2020. As Vice President, we want to know what difference can you make to protect our children against online abuse? Mr. Serapio, of 90 seconds.
Ang magagawa po natin dyan ay paggamit din po ulit ng teknolohiya para iyan ay ating ma-monitor ng mabuti. Ngayon po, gusto ko rin lamang pong sabihin, dahil ang pinag-uusapan lagi nga ay yung mga bilyon-bilyon na i-appropriate natin. Meron po bang na-allocate na pondo para sa ganitong mga programa? Kung wala po, kinakailangan pag-isipan kung saan kukunin yan doon sa mga ibinigay na pondo. Dahil ang bawat programa kailangan ng pondo. At ang lahat ng papasok na bagong manunungkulan sa susunod na administrasyon, ang kanilang gagamitin ay yun na pondohan na sa General Appropriations Act o na budget na. Kaya po, doon sa tanong ulit, kakailanganin po talaga niyan ng teknolohiya para na sa ganon ma-monitor ng gusto itong nangyayari po ng mga yan. Meron po niyan na ganyan technology kaagad. Napakabilis pong makita niyan.
Criminals also took advantage of the growing number of Filipinos doing financial transactions online. The Credit Card Association of the Philippines said credit card fraud surged by 21% since the pandemic started in 2020. Tighter regulations on SIM card registration is now one step away from becoming a law. This question is for Rizalito David. How will you crack down on criminals, cyber criminals, and safeguard the people's personal information? Mr. David.
Well, the law is already in place. It's just have to be, and yung desire natin, if some of them are even involved in these things, that's why nakakalusot, no? Ang dali lang naman yan even yung cyber sex, no? Kontrolado natin yung mga ISPs. Bakit hindi yun minomonitor maigi ng ating gobyerno? Lahat naman dadaan sa ISPs, di ba? So bakit nangyayari pa rin ito, no? So posibleng merong kontsabahan dahil malaking pera ang involved diyan. Paminsan-minsan naguhulihan, pero on the whole pera yung pinag-uusapan. Corruption pa rin yung pinupuntahan nitong question na ito, no?
And Manny Lopez, your views on cyber criminality and safeguarding people's personal information.
Yes, being a technology management professional for several decades. I think a real problem is competence, technical competence. Our implementers, our policymakers are not really keen or properly equipped on the matter with the observations of the industry that we need better leadership, more technically equipped, and really experience on the area of technology management. But unfortunately, this is not the case. And so cybercrime is proliferating in the same manner that financial technologies is increasing. As a matter of fact, the application of financial technologies has been embraced because of the circumstances that we were in during the time of pandemic. And so accordingly, there was a corresponding increase in cybercrime because of the lack of proper guidelines, the lack of proper monitoring, and it bottoms down on the lack of competence. Ayusin po natin yan because the future is in information technology.
Ayan, Rico, ang dami na nating narinig from our vice presidential candidates. And we have one final question after the break. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation, the Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022, right here.
They're located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunangka, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, Norben Engineering and Building Contractor, SH Thrift Shop, located at Santa Maria, Zamboanga City. RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tatuan, Zamboanga City. Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative. Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This vice presidential debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunangka, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City. Norben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City. Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List.
Look out for the leader, D-XXX Zamboanga. Now.
RPN, the Leader Network. D-XXX, 1008 kilohertz, the voice of the Leader Network in Zamboanga City.
Suena, balance, mafuerza. Este el RPN D-XXX, Radio Ronda Zamboanga. Este el de con todo suena, claro y mafuerza estación de radio la entero Oeste Mindanao. RPN D-XXX, Radio Ronda Zamboanga.
You are joining us live at the Quadricentennial Pavilion at the University of Santo Tomas. And we have one question left for the University of Santo Tomas. And we have one question left for our candidates, which will serve as our closing statement in this CNN Philippines Vice Presidential Debate. I'm Rico Hizon.
And I'm Ruth Cabal, and here is our final question, which will serve as your closing statement. The Constitution states that in case of death, permanent disability, or resignation of the President of the Philippines, the Vice Presidential Act as Chief Executive. Question, candidates, are you ready to assume the presidency should an emergency happen? And what would that leadership look like? We start the question with Senator Soto kasi kanina nung intro we started with Congressman Bello. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I have built consensus with 23 republics as President of the Senate for almost 4 years. We believe in our competence, experience, and I think we will be guided well. Not only by the good Lord, but of course, the experience that they've built within 30 years. Meron po kaming qualities na pinag-uusapan ni Senator Lacson na dala-dala namin dito sa eleksyon na ito. 3 K. Katapatan, kakayahan, katapangan. With this, I believe we will lead by example. Thank you.
Carlos Serapio, it's your turn.
By God's grace, I submit that I will be ready to assume the presidency should the occasion arise. I have thought a lot about presenting myself as a candidate in this coming election. I discerned, I reflected, I prayed. And I came to the conclusion that the 50 years of experience that I had been blessed to be part of the advocacy work of the just ordering of society will serve me in good stead. Should, again, I will be called to perform the duties of President. One can only do so with strength and courage if he depends on the source of all power. And that to me is the spirit of reason and the source of all reason, the source of all life, and that is God. So again, with the blessing of God, I think I am ready, willing, and able to be president of this country. Amen.
Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Nung tinanggap ko yung hiling ng ating Vice President na si Lenny na maging Vice Presidential candidate niya, ako ay napaluha at nakita ng ating mga kababayan. Ang isang dahilan ay dahil nakita ko ang mabigat na tungkulin ng isang magiging Vice President at mabigat na mga problema ng ating bansa. Tinanggap ko yun dahil alam ko kung mahirap ang aming dadaanang kampanya, mas mahirap ang naging dinadaanan ng marami nating mga kabayan, namatayan, walang trabaho, ginugutom. Sa pagkakataong yun, titiyakin natin, uunahin natin yung mga nasa laylayan, yung mga mahihirap nating mga kababayan. Bata pa lang akong abogado, ako na ay nagbibigay ng libreng serbisyong legal sa ating mga kababayan. Biko nga, isang bilaong biko ang bayad sa akin ng mga manggagawa. Hanggang sa ngayon, mga magsasaka at mangingisda ang ating ipinaglalaban dahil sila ang kapos. Hindi makatarungan na kung sino pa ang nagpapakain sa atin, sila ang gutom. Hindi katanggap-tanggap na ang isang tatang Meg na nakilala ko, 87 years old, nagsasaka pa, baon pa sa utang. That is an injustice that is not acceptable, and that's the kind of leadership that they can rely on us and Vice President Lenny Robredo. Uunahin yung mga kapos. Maraming salamat.
Dr. Willie Ong, handa po ba kayong humalili bilang presidente and what would that leadership look like?
Salamat, Ruth. Ako po ay isang doktor, internist, and cardiologist. Mahirap po maging cardiologist eh. Kami ang tumitingin sa code blue. Pag may namatay, pag may nagloko yung puso ng pasyente, we have to decide in 10 seconds, ito ba ang gamot? Ito, isang pagkakamali ko, pwede siyang mabuhay o mamatay. Yun stressful, pero sanay ako sa ganon. Dito sa gobyerno, marami kang advisor, pwede ka pa maghintay ng 1 linggo bago mag-decide. So tuloy-tuloy yung polisiya na plano ng aming program ni Mayor Isko. Meron kaming Bilis Kilos, 10-point program. Madalas for the past 4 months, ito po yung ginagawa namin. So tutuloy lang po natin to. Ako po ay isang doktor, 27 years. Libre ang serbisyo sa ating kababayan. Alam niyo, wala akong kaaway dito. Pwede naman tumakbo sa politika, walang kaaway. At sabihin ko na lang po, wala po akong campaign funds. Hindi ako tumatanggap sa kahit sinong negosyante. Kung tsatsamba tayo maging presidente, di makaka-decide ako ng napakaganda. Kung ano yung mga decision nyo sa West Philippine Sea, sa mining, yun ang magiging decision ko. Kasi walang humahawak sa akin. Kaya ko tumakbo, Facebook lang, at sa tulong at pagmamahal ninyo. Dito ako magsaserve kung saan nyo po kayo ilalagay. Maraming salamat po. Mahal na mahal ko po kayo. God bless po sa ating lahat.
Next, we have Mr. Manny Lopez.
Ako lang po ang kandidato para Vice Presidente na walang ka-official tandem na presidente. But I will fully commit to support the best, most qualified, and committed presidential candidate who will serve the interest and welfare of our people. I was tasked by the Labour Party leadership to seek the vice presidency in our collective effort to help rebuild the economy, address this unprecedented crisis, come up with proper solutions that will effect real change and reform, build a strong, just, and a progressive nation to help make lives better for our long-suffering people. Ako po bilang isang ekonomista at management professional, we came up with a 10-point socio-economic development and political reform agenda to help uplift the lives of our people. And bilang vice presidential candidate ng Labour Party, ako po ay handa na maglingkod sa ating sambayanan upang maitawid natin itong ating mga suliranin na haharapin sa mga darating na panahon. Salamat po.
Rizalito David, are you ready to assume the presidency should an emergency happen, and what would that leadership look like?
We are destined to greatness. Yan po ang pangarap ng Diyos para sa atin, subalit hindi nangyayari dahil may mga tao na pinipigilan na mangyari ang mga bagay na yan. Ako po ay pinanganak sa Tondo, doon lumaki, nag-aral sa pamantasan ng Pilipinas sa Los Baños. Nagtrabaho po ako na matagal sa Senado. Kasabayan ko pa nga po itong dalawa sa ating mga senador. Ang diferensya, hindi ako senador, sila senador, ako staff, pero mas marami kaming ginagawa. Yung preparasyon ko po ay narariyan. No? Hinihintay lang po ang pagkakataon. Kung yan po ay babagsak sa akin, tatanggapin ko po ng buong lugod at isasagawa ang mga bagay na dapat gawin para sa ating bayan. Katulad ng aking nasabi, we are destined to greatness. And we only need leaders to do this for us. Well, together with the people and share this vision. Kailangan natin ng malinaw na direksyon. At ano ba ang vision ng leader na yon? Malinaw na po sa akin yan. Naisulat ko na po yan doon sa aking tinatawag na rebuild. At pinakita ko pa nga po kanina doon sa mga staff ng CNN kung ano itong sinulat ko na ito. Ako po'y nakahanda para sa ganyang pagkakataon. Marami pong salamat.
Walden Bello.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much to CNN for this opportunity. Yes, I'll be ready to assume, but I really wanted to air some of my problems. You know, Sara Duterte is not here. They were watching us, you know, fighting one another. And she was not here to reveal her program because she has no program for the people. All she has is this mandatory military bill that would add 2 more years sa ating mga kababayan. 18-year-olds, they're trying to get out. No? I mean, we need Sara Duterte and Marcos to come and reveal themselves to the people. No? And that is why I don't like dumping on Senator Soto or Senator Pangilinan. No? I mean, really, you know, I think the main problem that we face is the Marcos-Duterte tandem. No? And I think that they just spat on the face of the Filipino people, telling them, you're not worth my giving you our programs because they have fucking no programs. Okay? So let me just end with that. You know, if I don't care what a number of people say, but I feel very strongly about the absence of these 2 idiots in this event. Thank you, CNN.
Candidates, we would like to thank you for your very generous time and for revealing to the Filipino people, sa buong sambayanan, ang inyong plataforma at programa kung kayo ang magiging vice-presidente ng Pilipinas. And after any debate, people often ask, who won? Who stood out? And who is the most qualified? So tell us what you think via the CNN Philippines digital platforms.
At marami na nga tayong reactions ngayon sa Twitter and Facebook. So to our audience, keep them coming. We want to hear from you. Alam mo, Rico, kasi yung mga ganitong debate, magandang pagkakataon talaga ito para makilala ang ating mga kandidato at marinig silang lahat. And again, we want to thank our candidates.
And gusto rin natin pasalamatan ang ating virtual audience who joined us for this Vice Presidential Debate 2022.
And of course, thank you very much to our host, the University of Santo Tomas.
Maraming salamat po.
Let's call in our candidates in alphabetical order. Former Akbayan Party List Representative Walden Bello. Please join us. Pro-life advocate Rizalito David.
Economist Manny S.D. Lopez.
Dr. Willie Ong, a cardiologist and social media personality.
Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan.
Lawyer Carlos Serapio.
And Senate President Tito Soto.
Maraming salamat po sa ating mga kandidato. Ako po si Ruth Cabal.
And I am Rico Hizon. Join us again tomorrow where 9 out of the 10 presidential candidates will be here, right here on the stage at the Quadricentennial Pavilion at the University of Santo Tomas to answer your questions. 5 to 7 p.m. Thank you for watching this CNN Philippines special presentation.
The Filipino Votes Vice Presidential Debate 2022. Thank you.
The power, the first, the leader.
This Vice Presidential Debate is brought to you by Asia United Bank, Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sugabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunanca, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, SH Thrift Shop, Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.
This portion is brought to you by ang Bumbero ng Bayan, ABB, NFCPI, National Firemen's Confederation of the Philippines Party List. This program is brought to you by Asia United Bank Haldon Branch. They are located at Astoria Printers Building, Barangay Zone 2, Sucabon, Zamboanga City. Can Trading General Merchandise, Astoria Regency Hotel, Pasunangka, Zamboanga City. Attorney Wendell Soto, Honorable Joselito Litlit Macrohon, Zenaya International Food Consumer Trading, Nurben Engineering and Building Contractor, SH Thrift Shop, located at Santa Maria, Zamboanga City, RDM, S33 Enterprises, Alfaro Street, Tetuan, Zamboanga City, Ayala Recodo Operators and Drivers Transport Service Cooperative, Sangkula Rice Dealer, Alamia Trading.